Welcome to Cast of Creators. We're your hosts. I'm Nelson Thal.
And I'm Casie Stewart. We've spent our careers in media and publishing, and now we're setting the stage for creative people who inspire us to share their stories.
Our guest today is Steve Dolson, founder of LXRY.ca. That's LXRY.ca. His site's awesome if you're into the finer things in life, luxury real estate, or looking for cool gifts.
We talked about Steve's love of luxury, his favorite watches, travel, and life as a creator. Here we go.
Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
Incredible to have you.
Happy to be here.
I'm so glad. I haven't seen you in
ages.
It feels like a billion years.
It has been.
It was a long time ago.
Long.
Yeah, too long. Definitely before there's pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and that was definitely pre-pandemic. I believe in a speakeasy in the Junction.
Yeah.
A little foggy.
I measure my life on pre-Casie and post-Casie.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's more of my...
Okay, well, we're back.
I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, same.
too.
Yeah.
Likewise, Casie describes you as a master of many trades.
Oh, well, that's nice. I'll use that on my LinkedIn. And
I could write you a review if
that'd
you
be
want.
great, yeah.
That's all it says, one line. Master of many trades.
1 star would not recommend.
Well, I thought I wanted to start with your vision statement from your site.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought it was a really great way to, let people know what you're about and your vision for what you're doing. But fundamentally, every person has the chance to be better. I thought this was a great vision statement.
Oh, thank you.
Every person has the chance to be better, compete more, and be more impactful, and be more passionate about what they do.
Oh, yeah.
My vision is to help as many people as I can to not only strive to be better, to be a better person, but be better to others in their communities, offices, neighborhoods, or cities. And
Absolutely.
I thought that was really wonderul.
Is it too political?
No.
I feel like
I didn't feel a political... No.
Okay,
not
that's
at all.
good. That's good.
Would I have read it if it was too political?
It's not a political podcast.
Vote for me for Oakville Municipality.
No, but I thought... But fundamentally, that vision underpins you as an agency, right? Like it's a bit luxury magazine, but it's more you as an agency too, correct?
Yeah. So I started LXRY LXRY Magazine in tandem to a digital agency.
Okay.
At the same time, because I had
smart
interests. I want to talk about certain things. When you're in the actual agency, you talk about all these other things that you get paid to talk about.
Right.
I get paid to post about, to get paid to like work around. But then I was like, I have interests too.
Right.
And so I wanted to start a blog that based on just years of curiosity, of interest in completely different fields than when I was working in. And it just kind of bloomed to its own thing. And I absolutely love every single day. And it's funny because like marketing doesn't seem like that exists as a job for me.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's like, wait, hold on. I get to hype things up and find like solutions to problems for people. And they're like, yeah, count me in. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is really fun. I mean,
that's great.
Have been in marketing for, ever. But I feel like, even us doing the podcast, it's part of my job, but we have so much fun and it doesn't feel, I feel excited when I come to work. Let me know.
Great stuff. I'm glad you do, Casie.
I'm going to set the striker straight. I'm no Shane Stevens. I'm no Bridget Tron. I'm no Brandon Olson. Okay. They do impactful things for their own things. I'm keeping in my lane.
None of them had a vision statement that I read, as the first thing. So you've got the vision statement going.
I got the vision.
That was the first time we've had a vision statement on the podcast, so that award goes to you.
And it'll probably be the last one. Yeah. No, I'm really super excited to be here with you guys, and I love what I do, so I'm happy to talk about it.
So one of the things I thought was really interesting about LXRY Magazine, 10 years old this year.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Was you've got everything filterable by price point.
Yeah.
Which was great because it's a really nice way to explore a magazine or a content such like yours.
Yeah.
Was that part, did you figure that out day one, or is that something that came later?
It seemed like it came pretty early. The reason being is everyone at the time when I first started it, everyone was really interested in price points, like the most expensive this, the most expensive that, the priciest, this in the world.
Totally. Yeah.
And so when I first started, I only talk about Canadian, what's accessible to Canadians on that website. And basically I wanted to see, were people into the hype, or maybe there's different budgets, or maybe they're kind of going up in their fields and they're getting bonuses or, things like that, and they want more opulent things, then maybe we can give them a price point that they want to play with. So that's why I did that way.
And all of, the content on luxury, part of it is unique content to you that you go and take the pictures and take, but do you curate? Like, how do you amass this much content?
It's honestly based on pure interest, and it's based on what I think would make a difference in somebody's life. So, for example, like, I want to talk about the things that aren't just pricey or valuable. It's like I want to talk about the things that are interesting, the things that would generate conversations or keep conversations going, essentially. So, like, if it's a car, sure, whatever, it's a car. But, like, what about that car that makes it interesting? There's certain things that I research. I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I might want to talk about that. Yeah. And so that's where it kind of comes from that way. But it's so amazing to see that people are going above and beyond with these cars or these things to make them interesting, solve problems in different ways, and kind of make them cool. There's a cool factor to them.
Yeah.
Has there been any specific thing that surprised you in the luxury segment over the last decade?
Oh,
like,
so many things.
What has changed? Like 2012, started.
Yeah.
Was that pre the first Tesla? Just trying to think of
that. Was around the first Tesla.
Around the first Tesla.
That was around the first Tesla Roadster. Yeah.
Okay, so did you write about them? How early when did you do your first Tesla?
It's funny because I was in automotive engineering for
that's
school.
So interesting.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I convinced my my co-op supervisor to say, I want to work in Toronto and I want to work in social media and for a real estate company. And they're like, that's not cars. And they're like, you got to figure out something with cars to kind of get the credit.
Right.
And
Must have been an interesting course.
It was. I learned a bunch. It was great. And then it's funny for this co-op experience, like I had to find something to do with real estate and cars.
Okay.
And so this one developer had a Tesla Roadster as hey, check out this Roadster
like the
and
promo
our property.
Vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I got to drive it for literally 5 minutes around like Avenue and Bloor and back kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wrote an entire 10-page review on that Tesla Roadster. Yeah, and then that's what gave me the credit for the automotive. So I'm like, this is fun. I just keep doing it. So yeah, it just kind of continued from there. But
what'd you say about the car?
It was a learning curve. I remember it saying it was a learning curve for a lot of people in different ways, from a driving experience, but also from a concept, like having a very expensive electric car that goes faster than your Porsches and your Mercedes that you have in so high regard. And it's a totally different experience. So you have to kind of forget what you know about speed. And it sounds like a go-kart. It
totally does.
It's just, and you're like 140. You're like, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And I was talking with a guy who works at a car dealership recently. And, one of the interesting things about Tesla that they would have been figuring out through these years is they own all their dealerships. And now, if you look at what's happening across the industry with Jeep or with any of the manufacturers, they're sending out surveys to these dealers and they're saying, what would you think if Jeep owned this dealership? Like instead of you owning it or instead of having an owner. And it's completely evolving the entire business model.
Absolutely.
Tesla's putting pressure on the entire model. Not just, is it a gas car, electric car, but it's like, well, is GM going to own the dealership or not now?
100%.
Which is quite interesting.
And then you have car companies like Lucid Air at Lucid, I mean, where they're from California, Arizona. They're built in Arizona. They're from California, and they have these studios. Well, it's not a dealership; it's a studio.
It's a studio,
and then these studios have interactive experiences. They have you can go through the car. There's actually Easter eggs in the car, but they won't tell you how many of these little bear symbols there are in the car. So as a user, you have to find them, and they're all about experience, tactility, things like that, as opposed to, hey, which one do you want to test drive? It's like, hey, let's learn about us first before we go on our first date, essentially, of the test drive. So it's very interesting what people are doing, especially with new cars that nobody really knows about. Like Lucid just came to Canada recently.
And was BlackBerry kicking when you started this?
Oh, yeah. I remember I loved BlackBerry so much. And I wish they didn't. Too. I wish they didn't go the direction they did, but here we are. I remember writing some articles while walking and not looking kind of at my phone. It was incredible. I love BlackBerries for that reason. You're just
the keyboard. It was great.
You're just popping out, paragraphs and stuff like that. It was fantastic. But yeah, it was around. I think I have a story of a BlackBerry on there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I grew up I went to Conestoga College, so it's like BlackBerry territory around there because that's where BlackBerry was from, right? In Waterloo. So, yeah. There was
Did you have a BlackBerry?
I did have a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
I had my favorite was the BlackBerry Pearl, the really skinny one with the rollerball in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a really petite phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called the Pearl. I never had the big one, but I had the small one. I remember once I was living at City Place and I was getting ready to go to work. And I lived on the 25th floor and I dropped it and it slid. It hit the windowsill and it slid and it slid and it slid and it slow motion. No, off the balcony. That thing went down 25 floors. The screen was cracked. I picked it up, still working.
You're still getting emails. It's unbelievable.
It was working. Like it wasn't, I had to get it replaced, but I was like, holy shit, this thing is like a little brick.
Imagine if that's what mattered.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Not gonna lie, one of my proudest moments when I first started the blog was actually seeing it on a BlackBerry. And seeing the small little Windows screen.
I'm sure.
I'm like, this is a proud moment.
I think that was the first mobile browser.
Yeah.
That was actually doing something. That was
doing something. Yeah.
And I remember taking 40 scrolls to get through my website.
No, it's like your finger, thumb gets tired.
On that little roller.
The whole time. Yeah. It was great. I love that thing.
Yeah. Well, 10 years. So you're in the OG blog territory.
Yeah. I remember seeing you at events and you're crushing it and it's still crushing it. It's still in different lanes and stuff like that. I think what's great about you guys, just to give you a moment.
Okay.
Just to give a moment.
Okay.
Is not only are you creators yourselves by doing this, but you're curators at the same time. So kudos to you guys.
Thanks so much.
Kudos
we've been having so much fun doing this podcast and having conversations with different people that are all kinds of different backgrounds, like chef, actor, fashion, music, entertainment, and everyone has a different story of how they are creating something in the world. And I think that it's amazing to give, this time and space to hear more about everyone because you only learn so much about someone through social media and what they choose to share online. You can look at mine post and be like, oh, she's like this. But I mean, you don't get to sit down and have a whole conversation with someone. And we've been asking people where they're from, how they got their start and what's next. And those are all things that you don't necessarily get just from someone's, curated social media feed.
100%.
You wouldn't really know how much into chess Casie is.
That's Sean.
He is wearing a checkerboard.
Yeah,
I know.
Sean and Nelson.
You're going to have to hop up here. We'll play on you.
I've never even played chess before. I don't know how to play chess.
Really?
No.
Checkers.
Checkers.
There we go.
I can play checkers.
Checkers is the gateway of chess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get there for
sure.
sure.
It is the gateway of chess.
I just never got into it. I was like, I've tried and I'm like, I don't feel like it.
Even with the Queen's Gambit show.
I loved her outfits and I was like, well, I guess this would be more of something you would see on that show, which was a great show.
She could have worn that.
Yeah.
You could definitely work wardrobe. You could work wardrobe on that for sure. No question. It'd be distracting the other players. They'd be like, What was my? And then they would lose.
Great show.
Yeah.
Good sequel, everybody. Netflix, if you're listening.
Yeah. I'd like
That's
to
a
see
sequel.
that. One of the things I was thinking about is like, creator life, and you've kind of been on both sides of the creator thing as like having your own website and also agency. Any, memorable creator experiences you had, like anything that stands out as like a really good brand experience?
I think, great question. I think that there's a lot of different ways to take this just because, you could have something that sometimes I go to events. Mm-hmm. Events are a great way of showcasing brands. And you've been to tons of events. You've been to tons. I remember seeing you at a couple of events yourself. And so like events are great to kind of two things, to like amplify the actual brand itself, but also maybe have things associated with the brand that you wouldn't expect. So like a gourmet meal. And so like it could be like a tire company.
Right.
And you're like, when you think of tires, you don't think of
the Michelin guide.
Meals. Yeah, Michelin. Exactly. Well, there's that, right? And then it's funny because that association is so important for them because people, I think it was, if I remember the story correctly, it's people wanting to go out to restaurants and they needed to have a guide to kind of promote that. So like having these brand experiences are one thing if they talk about themselves so much, but then if you have an associated experience that is around the lifestyle of something, that just elevates it way more. Where you could be asking the person midway through the event, like, hey, like, how's the event? You're like, oh, I never even thought about this. I never even came to mind. And all of a sudden, they're posting about tires on their feed. It's incredible.
Yeah,
For sure.
I've been to a bunch of events years ago, a bunch of things with Ford Canada where they sent us to Dearborn, Michigan. Were you on one of those trips together?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
But, where they send you to Dearborn, Michigan, and they really, as a brand, it's like, Ford's not the most high-end company, but I mean, I have such memorable times thinking about those experiences because they curated every single part of the experience where, you'd get a pamphlet, but it was on seed paper that you could plant after. They had everything the gifts that they gave you were made with sustainable materials because that's what they used to make the car seats in their car. They really went over and above to, like one of the trips was about sustainability and the environment and stuff and how Ford was taking leaps in those directions. And it was just, it stuck with me because they used local food. They used a local chef. They had all these things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of like with a Ford car, but the way that they curated the experience to show all those things around the lifestyle was memorable.
Honestly, Ford and Lincoln, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
They know how to take your expectations of a vehicle and just blow it out of the water. Like I just came back from New Brunswick for the Ford Bronco, and they're like, yeah, you can do a lot with this car. And you're like, but like how much? And they're like, trust us, you can do a lot. And then so I was off-roading. I was like in front of a tree, and they go, you got to drive, but you have to push this button to like swing the car around. But I'm like, I don't think you understand. I'm looking at a tree right now. They're like, just trust it. Just trust it. I'm like, I'm going to run into the tree. And they're like, no, you're not. And so I just like was like just swiveling. And then I went down this trail and no problem.
Wow.
And it's just
They
like
look cool, those Broncos.
Yeah, I love a Bronco. I just follow this Instagram account that's like vintage Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those
Classic.
vintage Broncos. Oh, so good.
It's amazing the capabilities of these cars. But then that itself showcases the highlights of the car, but in an experience that a lot of people have Broncos on their driveways and they don't even know about the capabilities of what they're capable of and things like that. So
who knew you could have it for 15 years and then bury it and you'd get some fruit or plant the damn thing. They're so creative at Ford.
Oh, they are.
I got to look for old Fords, plant them.
They had I was in Victoria, BC, and they actually had opened up the design of the Ford Maverick to have cup holders where people can actually make 3D printed add-ons by themselves so they can add to
the Maverick, the mid-size truck.
It's like a new mid-size truck.
Yeah,
it's hybrid and it
looks nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. So like it and they're tie-in is it's for makers. And so
that's cool.
It ties into the whole ethos of that vehicle.
What'd you think of that whole Mustang move? Repurposing that brand and making it an electric SUV.
Oh, that's a great question. So it was heated at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was pretty heated across the...
It's like we've got no other names.
We got no other names.
So what did they do? I missed this.
So the traditional, you know what? Why don't you tell Casie what they did?
So essentially, Ford had this Mustang brand, and they had a very, very popular community around Mustangs.
Yeah, I'm familiar with like Mustang.
For like the last 50 years.
Yeah, my dad is a classic car builder, so very familiar, especially an old Mustang. Like, I'm familiar, but I don't know what the latest drama
So
is.
he's going to be a bit questionable.
Dad on the podcast.
Get him on the phone. Get him about this.
Get him on the phone.
Get him on the phone.
Get him up right now. But essentially, they took the Mustang brand, much like Volvo is doing for Polestar, and they're basically using a new brand, or in this case, Mustang, to develop these electric vehicles. And so they have this kind of electric SUV, which is completely opposite.
How can a Mustang be an SUV?
That's
sacrilege.
No,
Sacre bleu.
That is.
Yeah, it was interesting, but a lot of resistance at the beginning across
Let me see.
car journalists and things like that.
That's
driven
not a Mustang. You see, like Crocodile Dundee. That's not a knife.
That's right.
Yeah, there it is.
It's a Mustang.
That's not a Mustang.
So what's interesting is that it met with a lot of, hesitation at the beginning.
They still do the coupe and the convertible, but that's the Mustang.
This is the only electric vehicle in this particular field, but I drove it.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm sure it's a great drive. I mean,
it's a lot of fun though. It's fun like a Mustang is. It's like,
but you can fit the family in the back.
But you can fit the fam. So it's interesting because if you're looking at a driveway, you have the nice Mustang, but then you're kind of forcing them to go, if they have kids, if they have more than two people, basically you kind of force them to have a larger car.
Yeah.
So why not another Mustang? And then like the grocery getter and things like that. But then you have the real kind of like V8 Mustang, V6.
For Sunday drive.
So it was a very interesting move from them. And you can see that with the Escape. The Ford Escape had it where it was a very aggressive squarish front. And then they sloped it. They made it a little bit more sleek. And then here comes the Bronco, adding that split in terms of demographic. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they've consistently been a cut above GM and
exactly
other American brands. Yeah, I think they have. But you know what though? Dodge has been good. Like Jeeps have been good.
Yeah,
and the Dodge trucks have had a good 5 years.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Honestly, you can't go. It's funny how much they compete against each other, but you can't really go wrong with a pickup truck now.
No.
There's so much computer aspects.
They're all pretty sweet.
They're all pretty sweet.
I would still take an old vintage pickup truck over.
Oh yeah,
you know what? Is that one of the new ones? I bet you that new one could convince you.
Oh yeah, probably. But
pretty cool.
I love an old truck.
Okay, so cars is hopefully one of your verticals.
Oh yeah,
in luxury. Okay.
Cars, watches, vacations, travel spots, fashion, technology, and things like that. I love talking about all of these different things, so that's why I talk about it. That's why I write about it. It's very simple. I'm a simple man.
How has the Apple Watch affected the watch market?
Oh, completely turned it on its head. Like if you were left with just Fitbits and stuff like that, it wouldn't have necessarily changed anything. But the Apple Watch brings the phone back into your wrist, and that makes, I think it's the best selling watch of all time is actually the Apple Watch. And so you have all these different users now. It splits the users in half. Some people are actually wearing two watches.
Yeah, you know what, Shane, when he was here, he had two watches.
See, that's
I
had to do that
because he likes the watch, but he likes the a fashion watch and then a function watch.
Exactly. It's funny because I'm of the mind of, I used to be everything that's new is good and everything that's new and happening and up, is the best. But then I've kind of gotten back. I've gotten back into vintage watches, vintage cameras. I have cameras from the 50s. I have cameras from the 60s. The watch I'm wearing now is from 1953.
Oh.
And so you have these things that are, instead of the new, what's new and what's colorful, more like what's going to last long, what's got some stories behind it, what can I build something with, which is interesting. And you don't get that necessarily with all this new stuff.
No, I think there's definitely a big push towards that, even in like the world of fashion, where it's like, you know, fast fashion was like so hot to trot for a little while, and people are like, that ain't it, you know, and like even just the rise of like vintage markets and the vintage clothing show, and having something that can tell a story, or a fabric that has lasted a long time versus something that you're just going to buy it and then you're going to get rid of it the next year because it's not in style anymore. And it's like,
exactly, you
know, style, I don't know who said the quote, but, you know, it's something along the lines of anyone can buy fashion, but style is, you know, something that you have. So it's like you can take anything from any era and make it your own.
Absolutely. And it kind of puts it up for grabs, and it gives you the option of kind of curating your style a little bit more and setting your own tone for things. Mm-hmm. It's just so important now for expression, and for, you know, you walk around, you know, Bloor Street, and you see the same kind of people who are dressing like Drake or, you know, whoever, and you're like, in time you'll find it. Yeah. You'll find your speed.
You'll get there, honey.
There's only so many Jordans you can own, right? Before you're like, okay, now what? What else is there?
Yeah.
So it's about, for me, it's about curating like different experiences, and like, it's interesting. I've gotten back into film photography.
Mm-hmm. Oh, amazing.
And I love film photography because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the camera jams up and it breaks the film. Sometimes
you just miss the shot.
You miss the shot
entirely.
entirely.
There's a finger.
And that's part of it.
And you got 36 shots for your whole vacation. And like, what can you do there? So,
2 of them turned out.
Or like, I went to Ohio recently, and I took a bunch of photos, and I go and unwind it, and it's completely broken, and it ruined all the photos. And you're like, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes.
It's like he never went to Ohio.
It's like I never went.
Or it didn't happen. Basically, it's like it never happened.
It never happened. I didn't go to Ohio.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting that way.
You know, are you into drones?
Yeah, I do have a drone.
Which drone do you have?
I have the DJI Mini 2.
Nice.
I want to get the Mini 3 because it's a little bit more, you know.
For sure.
You can fly those things almost anywhere.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Nelson's like a drone master.
Yeah?
Thanks, Case.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. Like
they're awesome. Mini 3 is sweet.
You have the 3?
No.
No, it's pretty sweet though.
I know it is. You know what? The nice thing about it is you can, the camera turns to portrait.
I know.
Which is nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I've got Mavic Air 2.
Oh, good one. That's a good one. That's a solid choice.
It's awesome. I had the Mini before I had the Mavic, and I exchanged it for the Mavic.
Yeah, good move.
And the reason was I was doing some boat stuff. Filming boats.
Yeah.
And couldn't really keep up to a boat if you had a headwind.
Oh, yeah.
With the Mini.
Things.
But the Mavic Air 2 does.
It'll keep up with you.
And I've got a Phantom. A new Phantom.
Oh, good.
But it was sort of my father's decision to get it. He wanted something bigger than what I had. Okay.
Always.
But bigger isn't always better when it comes to drones. Okay.
Yeah. You're going to have a helicopter pad at your place.
Well, yeah.
They probably do.
Yeah. You know, we do have a little helicopter pad for it. Because, you got these things that, like, you know, those things that are circles and they fold up really nice and then they open up.
Oh, yeah.
And then you really you can't figure out how to get them back.
You spend the whole time after you open them.
Yeah, and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but the drones, DJI, they're doing unbelievable stuff. I can't believe.
They're untouched, really.
Yeah. You must do drone articles. There must be drone articles.
Yeah, so I like... it's funny because my brother started a drone company recently.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
And so he's interested in all that aspect. And
what's his company called?
It's called Dolson Media, actually.
Okay.
He's kind of solidified the name. So,
Nice.
But is a recent thing.
Wow.
And
that's your last name.
I know. I've known him my entire life, my brother.
Wow. You guys go way back.
We go way back. But he's
older, younger.
He's older by 2 years.
Okay, so
he's older by 2 years.
Comfortable doing that.
Yeah, and he wanted to do it for engineering because he noticed that he was a scuba diving engineer
Cool.
a civil engineer. So he's above the bridge, below the bridge, in the water. And then so I'm
now
like,
in the
what's
sky.
left? In the sky. So
Amazing.
Dolson Media.
Dolson Media.
Everywhere.
everywhere.
What type of equipment does he have?
He has the Mavic Air 2, I think it is. The latest Mavic Air.
That's what I've got.
Yeah. So you guys are boxing in the same ring. So. And he's loving it so far. The image quality is great, but he understands that this is why I didn't go with the Mini. Didn't have the software. He has
that
these
too.
engineering software that comes in with drone control. He can set the same path over and over again.
Yeah.
So when you're in clients, you can see how things change over time.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
There's great aftermarket software that he probably uses for that I've
People
got
just
too.
flipping
And
these
I've
drones.
got my drone like flying missions. Like, it's
I'm
unbelievable.
just waiting for like
Just have to push a button.
sounds. Yeah.
And it goes off and does its thing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I love drones. I think they add so much to a story and so much to like an actual, article or just a sense for something, the scale, things like that. So I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
And then into music growing up?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Were you in a band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nelson is also a
I'm a
musician.
drummer.
Drummer.
You guys are rare. Like, good drummers are so hard to find. You have no idea.
There's one right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time.
I didn't actually. I thought it was an urban myth, like a one drummer besides the one we have. Like he moved to Aurelia, so I don't know where to find a good drummer.
It's true.
Right
Yeah.
in front of me.
No,
Nelson's
exactly.
ready.
A
That's
good
amazing.
drummer with time is
Oh.
not here.
Oh, that's the best, isn't it? Oh my God! So yeah, we started a band. It was started with my dad and his best friend.
That's cool. What does
And
your dad play?
He was a harmonica and singer.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And
His best friend play bass.
a little guitar,
Guitar.
and then he was the other harmonica, and they used to be called the Bloat Brothers.
Oh.
And so just like they play blues and stuff like that, like the Blues Brothers, but they would stuff
Oh.
pillows in there,
Oh.
Oh, cute.
and they would
Like a
overheat.
shtick. They
Yeah,
had
it
a
was a shtick. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Cool. Your dad's funny.
Oh yeah. And then he would play a normal short set. So if they had a full crowd and stuff like that, he'd play like 3 songs. He goes, "We gotta go," and then
Head out.
run off the stage, which was pretty funny.
That's so funny.
And then that continued to us developing a band. And
what did you play?
I started playing guitar.
Okay.
I sing. I do a little rapping in the
Nice.
band as well.
Okay.
And we play just kind of good hits, get
Yeah.
the people going, keep people dancing, and then we do it all for charity.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
jack.org and things like that. And
Repeat that.
jack.org.
Jack.org.
Yeah, the charity for just helping kids out. And
Was it Jack Layton's charity?
No, it was this parent talking about a kid who had some mental health challenges in Kingston.
Okay.
And he started this charity, and it's been an incredible journey. And we love supporting it. And
Yeah.
we did this thing called Free the Girls, which was a bra like donation.
Oh.
And they take all the bras and they bring them to third world countries where people can set up shop selling bras in their communities and developing these entrepreneurship kind of values, which is great. And they
Wow.
get more than minimum wage in these developing countries.
Wow.
And so we had this concert where they're...
I have a friend who has a charity with that model, but for skates.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Skate to great.
Skate to great.
Yeah, seriously.
I love these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, it's great.
Same model, but with skates.
Just skates, yeah.
But actually, they don't
Honestly, so
go.
cool.
They don't go. They go to people in Canada.
Right. Less
Still, all great.
international.
All
There's
great.
not a lot of skating.
Not a lot of skating.
But there's use for bras, but not skates.
Exactly.
Over there.
It was mayhem that night because we had people throwing bras on stage that they were donating,
Yeah.
and it was great. It was hilarious. To see.
That's one thing I've never done is I don't think I've ever whipped my bra off at someone on stage.
When's your next
surprisingly.
event?
I would do
have her dream. She'll
I'll
get her
be there.
dream.
if I were you. I'd do it at
Every time
the
she tells-
chillest, coffee house, like
Next time I
acoustic
see you,
set.
I'll just throw my bra at you.
People are like, what? I'm like,
Crazy
donation.
lady.
She's making a donation.
I haven't known Casie that long, maybe like 2 years now, 3 years. Each one of her birthdays has been probably planned around wanting to do that.
Oh yeah.
That's not true.
And it never has happened.
Listen, there have been times that I've taken my shirt off, but I haven't lost a bra.
That stays on.
See,
There's
how
I draw the
charitable are
line.
you?
Draw the line.
Obviously, not very charitable. That's the thing.
All right. Well, let me know when your next event is, and I'll wear 2 bras.
All right, perfect. People did that, which was really funny. Yeah, they were like wearing it.
It's funny
outside
when we go up to the cottage. There's a house, and it's like right when you get onto Southwood Road near the cottage, and there's a bra fence. And the unique thing is the family that owns that property, someone had moved from New Zealand, and my family's from New Zealand. And coincidentally, there's a bra fence somewhere in New Zealand. And it's like when you get up to the cottage, you can take off your bra, like you're getting into relaxation.
Yeah.
So it's this whole fence, and people have just stopped and put their bras on the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Same
that
with
was
the
funny.
ski up in Collingwood.
Yeah,
There's
what are your
trees
odds?
and stuff like that have like bras
Bra.
and stuff all over. And you're like,
Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
what's going
Near
on?
my cottage, there's one with shoes.
Oh.
And at night, it's creepy.
Yeah.
You drive
I
up
can
the
imagine.
highway, and all of a sudden, like, if you don't know what's coming, I've had friends with me in the passenger seat, and
Yeah.
they see that shoe tree.
They're like, what the?
It's like out of a horror movie.
I wonder if people use it for
It's an
direction.
entire
Yeah.
old, big-looking, like Berenstain Bears tree. Okay,
Wow.
covered in
Shoe?
shoes.
I wonder if they shot like the new Avatar there or something like that shoe tree instead of home
Yeah.
tree or something like that. I don't know.
That's
But
wild.
yeah, it's creepy. You know, it's creepier than the bras for some reason.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
knew that there was feet in those shoes before.
That's the scariest thing.
That's the scariest thing about them.
Oh, that's funny. I love it.
So on the agency side,
Yeah.
okay, a brand will come to you.
Yep.
That wants to, like, what are the suite of services that you offer?
Great question. So I like to assess because a lot of people will come with a certain idea in mind, and sometimes that changes. I just had a client call recently. They're talking about their ads, and they're like, "Oh, our ad spend is not getting where we want to go." And then a lot of people stop there and go, "Okay, I can develop ads for these people." But what I realize is that it's ads and website, like ad traffic going to the website. The website is just as important for
Oh,
conversions and so on. So I think about things a little bit more holistically in that way, where I'm like, it might start off on one thing, but you're like, what do you actually need?
Right.
Are
Yeah.
you getting sales or not? Are you doing this or not? And then we kind of develop a tailored plan. So it could change. I don't do the cookie cutters thing. It's very easy to have a set of deliverables and have the same pitch deck and have the same this and that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what do you need? What ails you?
Or
what can I
helping
help
someone
with?
see maybe the problem. Because I know what you mean. I've worked with clients before, and it's like they
Yeah.
think that their problem is this, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. Because like an ad going to the website is one thing, but if the website's not prepared to take that intake of people and new users or new customers, and it doesn't deliver, if they're not getting what they get when they get to the website, that's the end of the journey for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also seeing like where people are going on the website. So I was working with a wedding photographer, and a lot of the times I looked at the journey of the user across each page, and I realized that this most of the users, 90% of the users, didn't actually see a single photo of this wedding photographer, which is all of the business that she's doing.
Yeah.
is
What were
the
they
business
looking at? I wonder.
about page,
Right.
contact, but she didn't have any other photos. So we diverted things to a gallery a little bit more. And then she started getting company, I think, starting getting business. So it's small changes and stuff like that, but also thinking of not just the numbers, but actually thinking as like a person helps.
Yeah, adding a human element to the strategy and not just being like numbers.
Pretending you're the customer.
Oh yeah, 100%. Pretending you're the customer, pretending like, would I get frustrated? Would I get upset if I saw this particular homepage, or if it's slow, or if it's this, or it's not getting me what I want? I need to have answers. Give me answers. And then so it's hard to quantify that in numbers only. And sometimes you just have to look at the user experience for it. Yeah.
And this is done through Benchmark,
Yes.
right?
So Benchmark just turned 5 today.
Beautiful.
So I'm very happy about
Congratulations.
Congratulations, HBD.
that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Today, you said today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, celebration. Good thing we cheers.
Cheers,
That's an
cheers,
excuse
cheers.
for a cake.
Oh, you should have let me know. I would have.
Yeah, it's only 5. It's not like 15 or anything.
My mom's 17 years old, actually.
That's a cake. That's a cake.
I was going to have a sweet 16 birthday, but it was the pandemic. And I was like, I can't do it now.
Now you got to do
when I'm 20, my blog's 20, I'm going to be 800 by then.
If it's 21, you can have the party in the States.
Yeah.
But I turned 5 and I used a different approach completely for it. It's my kind of second agency, I guess you could say. So I wanted to have it where the name represents what it is. So it's called Benchmark. So I look at, instead of what I was doing before, which is, doing things kind of based on service, I do things more on approach now. So I look at, if it's a real estate agent, who are they competing with? And well, if it's Toronto-based agent, they're kind of competing against other Toronto-based agents.
Right.
But then that kind of keeps them in a bit of a groove where they're not doing anything innovative or different. So I look at the most competing markets and seeing who's killing it there, who's killing it in Miami, in New York, and things like that, in LA. And even in Sweden, there could be an agent who's really connecting with their audience. And then I research all that and kind of integrate it into their a local kind of business.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun because then you get to see what other countries are doing, what means something to somebody else, and it kind of opens up the perspective a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And you don't have to name the specific clients, but what are some telltale signs that an engagement's going to really bomb? Okay, I'll give you an example one.
Yeah.
When I deal with people, contractors, especially on just pure Zoom or Google Meets, if they don't turn on their camera, I never hire them.
That's a red flag. Eh?
I've never had a successful engagement, even a little engagement, with anybody who just, doesn't turn on their camera. It's enough that you're remote.
Yeah.
But if you can't really turn on your camera and I can't really have any type of a rapport here, then what's this about? And the thing is, do you really want to work with that person anyways on the regular? A lot of the contractors, for example, there's a lot of contractors between me talking into this microphone and somebody ending up and seeing this podcast.
Yeah, this podcast.
You're seeing a clip of it. There's even more
Hi, guys. Hey, everybody.
Exactly. Everybody you're waving to, they've turned on their cameras and there's at least a face-to-face,
know who they
relationship there.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I mean, a clear-cut red flag.
Oh, I got a good
all right, let's hear yours first.
My red flag
Casie, lay it on us.
I've had this happen twice in the last 2 years. One, if we go into a meeting and your bed is behind you and it's messy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I had once was it was we worked with someone and it was a meeting and they were doing some work with us and his bed was just a mess behind him. He looked like he went.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
I don't it was he was sitting at the side of his bed.
I felt it's so gross to say this, but I felt like I could smell what his room smelled like because it was not nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And then another time I had
a writer too.
I had a job interview.
So poetic.
I don't know. Somebody contacted me from an agency that I will not name, but I think it's a scam. But they wanted to hire me back in the early days of the pandemic, and this guy was being really smooth, and his bed was his sheets were tousled behind him, and he was and I was I have to go. I don't think this is going to work out.
I know what you're going to say. These are bunk beds.
Yeah. It was so creepy. So if you're going in a meeting, just use a virtual background.
Oh.
I don't even care if you make your bed. Just don't show it to me ever.
I know. It's I see people who have the blurred background, the super blurred background. And then you're what are you hiding back there?
Yeah.
Is that a messy bed? I'm pretty sure
there's got to be something. You know what I mean? It's, especially with sometimes it's the actual gradient or whatever it is, shows a little bit, but is blurring it out.
I'm always they're talking and I'm
I feel like a cop show. I feel like I need to solve this problem. You know what I mean?
Actually, It'd be funny if you did like a backdrop that was an image of something like a messy bed or something sort of fairly grotesque. And you then put on the fake background, right? But as you move around, little pieces are coming through.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to do some for Halloween. And it'll be like, I'll come in a meeting and you'll be like, holy shit, she's in a murder show.
Yes,
I'm in the Saw basement.
It's like a pile of bodies behind you, and you're in the
I'm in the basement of the Saw movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're just talking about reports.
Okay, you can go now.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting how people, or like saying you're on mute now, is you got a bit of a runway to it, like 2-3 years. Come on.
Yeah.
Like you're on
yeah.
saying you're on mute now, or something like, hey guys, you're on mute.
Yeah, like don't have you figured it out. I mean, it does happen every once in a while, but
or like
happened to me today actually. But Nelson was on a call and I sometimes talk to myself when I'm working. So I muted myself because I knew he was on it. Like he was on mute, but but yeah, people should know how to interact in this digital age by now.
Some people think that the chatbot of Zoom is going to last forever.
No.
And then they load that chatbot up with like links and so on and so forth. They're like, all right, see you later. It's like a 20-minute meeting. Like,
send it in Slack. Hello.
Yeah.
Send it in Slack.
Email. Anything. Text it to me even. Call me after it.
Send a carrier pigeon. I don't care. Do not leave it in the chat of a digital
that. I'm like, I don't have time to, you guys gave me 10 minutes.
So how do you market and advertise for Benchmark?
So I've never spent any money on advertising at all. And I find that it's because if it works, it's going to work for more people and more people are going to know about it organically. Word of mouth is a big thing. But then you got to give them something to talk about for word of mouth. You know what I mean? You can't just like, hey, I had my email newsletter go out and it was cool. Like, who cares?
It's a great ad.
You got my email newsletter is sent out to 5% more people or something. Like, who cares? So you got to do something. And this is what we did with our actually tying back to the music. We always have something going on in the show. And it could be the bass player gets taken out by a crowd member. It could be, somebody's dressed in a gorilla suit, which we had last time. It's like, you got to give them something to talk about to be interested in what you're doing, as opposed to, I just saw the show last night. It was like, oh my God, I saw this crazy show last night where somebody like was flying in and drop kicked the drummer. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It gives them something. You got to give them something different to talk about, and that lasts longer with people. That spreads like wildfire with people, even offline or online. So
what's something like that for Benchmark? What are you doing in these?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What am I not doing, really? Well, it's like, it's more thinking further out. So just like what Casie was saying, it's about thinking ahead of time, like managing what they're going to be talking about later. If things get approved, having that work done already is like move things along. Like, wow, they really thought about all sorts of different things. Or coming up with creative ideas, like coming up with different things. Like I have a goat farm as a client. And so like coming up with different things to interactive things, like, somebody submits a message to their parents or something. It's like a talking goat to send it off to them. So it's, little things like that different. Just be different. There's so many real estate agents out there. There's so many different companies out there that if they do the same thing with the same headshots and stuff like that, you're like, give me something else.
Yeah, give me something
else.
And
people are always aching for something different, something unique, something interesting and stuff like that.
I'd love to go to the goat farm.
Yes.
Side note.
It's amazing there.
Do you know that the most popular in all my years of social media, the most popular piece of content I ever posted is a video. It's not even out anymore because it was on Vine. R.I.P. Vine. I loved you. You're the best. Yeah. But it was me holding like a baby goat. And it was like me holding a baby goat. And I guess there's like goat blogs out there and like people who really love goats. And it went viral like on Tumblr. And then it killed it in Vine. And that one piece of content had like 500,000 views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even surprised.
Goats are the goat.
Yeah. Hey. Where to use that?
Yeah.
We're going to wrap that up.
The goat. There's an idea for you.
Yeah, the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby animals are
In
pretty
general.
clickbaity.
Yeah. Those
They
are
are.
the kind of the animals that I like the most. We've talked about. I'm not really like an animals person, but baby animals
Baby animals are the
Mhm.
best.
are safe.
When they're fresh.
They're small.
They're
cute.
small and they don't know what they're doing.
And they don't bite
And
you.
it's so exactly.
Yeah. I was going to ask one thing about, I saw on your site that you have like a Patreon for the site.
Mhm.
So is that offers, if people support your Patreon, that offers them some type of exclusive content?
Yeah, so it's also it's exclusive content, but it's also like, communicating with these people as well. So like I want
Okay.
them to have a behind the scenes look at what they're doing, what they want from luxury. Maybe so there's a lot of stories just like what we were talking about with events.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happen at these events that maybe go awry, or maybe something to be said, or maybe you have a conversation with somebody. So it's mostly about the behind the scenes. with
Oh,
that.
that's cool.
Yeah, which is really cool. I want to make it a little bit more personable, as opposed to saying,
I went to this event, I did this, here's this, and this. Here's what really happened at that
here's
board
the
event.
BTS of that event. The
Oh my gosh,
juicy
those are the
details.
best stories that I have from any event is like, I love, a picture is truly worth 1,000 words because I will look at an event that I wrote about and I'll be like, oh,
That's not all that happened.
that looks like fun. But if they only really knew, it's like, we left that event and then we went here and then we left here and I lost a shoe.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I'm dancing with Fashion Santa. You
Yeah.
never know, right? It's like all
Yeah.
these things.
Totally has definitely happened.
Yeah.
Or hitting the dance floor with Andrew Aboli at the end of the night,
Oh,
What
Yeah.
a
it's like,
legend.
Mom, what a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about, giving that extra little bit.
That's cool.
And giving some actual, like, throwing some realness.
Maybe that's something we could
Yeah,
throwing some
incorporate.
Realness. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a good one.
That would be something interesting to work into Hover, is having some type of Hover exclusive content with
Yeah.
websites.
Totally.
What really went down that day? Things like that. I think that, it gives you that extra little bit of, if you were acquaintances, just like if you were, if you're telling a story with an acquaintance that you've never met, somebody just kind of peers onto the scene. You're like, I'm not going to tell you that same story that I'm going to tell my friends.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's the same thing. It's the same kind of like, idea.
That's cool.
Yeah. Something a little different.
Is the story about your shirt available to tell?
Oh, this, I wish it was more exciting, to be
It's
honest.
a great shirt. It's,
It's a
if
great
you
shirt.
can't
Is
see it
with
on camera
love written-
or you're listening, it's a corduroy Scotch and soda short sleeve button up that is in dark navy. And I'm doing the descriptive text.
Yeah, I appreciate
And then
that.
on the bicep of the one arm, it says "with love" in script of
Yeah.
yellow. It's nice.
See, Shane Stevens, okay?
Yeah.
He comes in and he's wearing all these cool things.
He is.
Yeah, he's
and
very
I'm
cool.
like, you know what? I got to do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I got to do a little,
He
I
set
got to
the
do
bar,
a cool
really.
shirt. It's not skeletons, cowboys, or anything like that. It took 6 to 12 weeks to get. It's nothing like
You
that.
listen to that app and
It's
you
not the
really
pink
could-
leather tie or the orange Converse, you
Yeah.
know, but it's something.
Yeah.
It's something.
So it's great.
Classy.
We noticed it right away when you walked in. Nelson and I both commented on the shirt.
Oh, I appreciate
Good.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it feels good. It
Good.
feels
You
good.
know what? That's what's really most important about fashion is what feels good.
Oh, it
I
feels
remember my
good.
mom always saying, looking good is feeling good.
I can tell you a story about when fashion went the other direction. For
Oh,
me.
please do.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so I was
So this is the direction of not feeling good.
not feeling good.
Uncomfortable?
Not
Okay.
feeling good at
Okay,
all.
Great.
So it was my very, very first luxury event that I was invited to. And I was, this was going back 10, like 11 years. And I was like probably about 23. I was nervous. So
Yeah.
for the longest time, I didn't have my name or anything on Luxury Magazine because I felt like I was too young. I
Yeah.
had this little bit of imposter syndrome and things like that.
Mhm.
What do they want to, talk about me for and things like that?
Mhm.
So I'm at this event and I'm like, I got invited and stuff like that. I'm like, I got to dress up. I got to look good because I'm like, this is the first outing. This is the first showing.
Yeah, it's like your premiere.
It's my premiere. Exactly. It's my TIFF. And
Self tip.
it's my self-TIFF. And so I go there and, there's this, it was at the top of the Thompson Hotel. And I was dressed up. I got like the dress shirt on. I got the black pants and stuff like that, the dress shoes. I was wearing the best thing I had. And I mean the best thing. It was like certified for just weddings. And and I go and there's this president of the company who's flown in internationally, and like I recognized him and I was like, oh my God, that's him. And I've never seen anybody like this is my first event. And I'm like, all of a sudden there's like celebrities are here. And then I was so nervous. I'd build my courage up by talking to other people in the same way that I would talk to them. I was like,
absolutely.
What do you do? Oh, nice to see you. It's great to meet you. Finally, things like that. Anyway, so I'm rehearsing. I'm building up this courage, and I find my lane. I find my opportunity, and I go up there, and he's like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, hello, sir. Nice to meet you. And he goes, double rum on the rocks, please. Thanks. And I go, yeah, make it snappy. And then I was like, oh, he thinks I work here. And I was like so deflated after that. And then I built up another 45 minutes. The drink was kind of like...
Did you get him a cocktail?
I got him a drink. And I put my business card underneath it.
Oh.
And so when he grabbed it, he's like, what's this? And I go, what I was supposed to talk to you about. And ever since then, I realized that you can kind of, in these social environments, people are just, are looking to have a great time. They're looking for people who won't talk off their ear. It's not elevator pitches and stuff like that. And so since then, I had this streaming confidence. I was like, oh, I can talk to anybody. This is great. And so I started throwing my business card to get it out. I tried throwing my business card in people's convertibles just to get the name out there and stuff. I tried to do... Did
it work?
I think so. There was this one person who contacted me and said, hey, I saw your card in my car. And I go... Nice car. You know what else you'd like? Is this
luxury?
Yeah, is this article? And then he clicked. I'm like, so
that's funny.
Oh my God,
I had only budget for 1,000 business cards, and I just put them under coasters at restaurants that were good and things like that. So I was hustling with these things.
I find that's a really good guerrilla style. When I first started to get my blog out, I had I worked at a tech company and I didn't have a lot of money, and they had a printer, and so I made Avery label stickers that had you probably remember this because I used to stick them on everyone at every conference. You probably had them stuck on
yeah I do.
But it was a strip of pictures of my face that was also on the header of my blog, and I said Casie Stewart, this is my life, and it's had at Casie Stewart, it had my URL. So I cut them up after work, secretly when nobody else was looking.
Yeah.
So I had all these Avery labels. But the thing is, it's I would go to conferences or I'd go to events and I would stick them on people or I'd put them on. And I had so many people the next day being like, that event was wild. And I woke up with your sticker on my shirt. You are hilarious. And then you go to my blog and leave a comment. And it was
wow. All these southern events you went to.
I woke up with that sticker.
I was at South by in Texas. I don't know. But I mean, it was I did it everywhere here. And I used to have friends stick them the horseshoe, for example. They were all stuck in the boys' bathroom stalls.
Oh, yeah.
I had those stickers all over the city. And it actually did drive traffic to my blog. And people would be like, I met you last night. You're so fun.
It was crazy. You can do the same thing now.
I know. She's had get stickers on her to-do list for 2 months.
Oh my God.
Peppering the city.
Promoting them. She's got them on her to-dos for 2 months.
Yeah, okay, tomorrow.
There's some things that...
stickers are a really great way to...
I love stickers.
Yeah.
Another one is another life hack that has brought me so far in my career, bringing a camera to an event.
Yeah.
You would be surprised on, one, they didn't hire a photographer, maybe.
Right.
And you're the only one. And two, if you do, everyone wants their shot. Everyone wants to take a picture. Everyone wants to know that they're there, especially if it's a good event.
Yeah.
And and you can get contacts and you can get.
Yeah, no, you can, especially like,
it's one of the biggest OG moves.
Especially if you have a website and you say, oh, these are going to be on my website. Check it out here. And people will come. Social media breeds narcissism. Everybody wants to see a picture of themselves, them looking good, this and that. So if you post a picture of them, it gets them to come back to your website. Because I use that tactic too. I would take pictures of everyone, especially with my stickers on them. And then post that really helped build my website traffic, because I would post pictures of all the things I went to and people would go to my blog to see a picture of themselves.
Mm-hmm. I was at a wedding kind of party recently, and there was about 100 people there, and I was the only person with a camera. And so wouldn't it be great to have a moment where I have pictures with the husband and wife and things like that before they start they didn't have anything. So I became the photographer, and then I got just the world over praise. Everyone's coming up to me. Thanks so much for taking pictures. Thanks so much for doing this. I sent it out in a Dropbox, got so many people back saying posting,
tagging you,
me, everything. It's just about one of the other ones that I would highlight is I went into an auto show, and there's press, there's all these people. So if there's any celebrity whatsoever, there's a lineup, and usually under these hot lights, this one guy, Christian Koenigsegg, who has a Koenigsegg brand, he was at the auto show, and I can tell he's just sweating, right?
Yeah, I can picture him sweating.
Just, he's posing for pictures, being a champ, things like that, knowing that he wants to get it, his brand out there.
And let's get this over with.
And he's like, come on, he's checking his watch, but he's overheating. He's just completely and utterly sweaty and things like that. So I'm like, does anyone else have water? And I looked around him. He's standing, only just cars. That's it. Cars and people. And so I actually went to the bar, and there was a lineup of about 50 people. I went to the bar and I said, can I get a water? And then I brought it to the front to his PR person. I go, this is for Christian. And so she's like, really?
Oh, thank you.
And then she's like, and so she actually had to drink some to make sure it was okay. I'm like, it's closed. It's all good.
Yeah.
I just went for there. And she tasted it. She's like, okay. And then she gave it, and he goes, who gave this to me? And you go, me. And come here.
Wow.
And so I had a conversation with him. I exchanged.
That was a great move.
Things like that.
Recognizing a moment, someone has a moment of need, and you show kindness.
Just solve problems, get kindness, and recognize the opportunity. There's a lot more opportunities than people think. And if people are struggling, if it's visually kind of taxing any kind of thing, if you help, it'll just reward you.
Yeah.
And it's a cool feeling that being recognized for that.
Mm.
And so I try to do that literally all the places I go to.
That's a really good quality. And it's something that, I find sometimes it's if you, I'm a positivity person.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, if you put out good vibes and you really lead with that, and you really lead with good intentions and a genuine be kind, give, share, then you don't do it for reward, but the universe recognizes that. And good things,
I agree with you.
it helps to bring more good things into your life.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I do think
I live like that too.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why we get along so well.
Yeah, exactly.
All of us.
It's so important to also recognizing that you may not get anything back.
Yeah, but that's okay. The gift is in the giving.
Gift is in the giving. You got to give to live. You got to live to give.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Steve, I think that's a beautiful place to end.
Hey, I'm happy with that too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
For
I really
joining
appreciate it. This is so much fun.
This was a lot of fun. And I think that our, life missions and personal missions and values seem to align so well. And it's just a pleasure to meet you. And
thank you for having me
at Casie Creators
at Hover Studios and stuff like that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And look, if you need anything else, let me know.
Thank you. We will. We'll keep our cameras on.
No problem.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode with Steve Dolson. You can follow his blog, luxury.ca, that's LXRY.ca, in our browser Hover to keep up with his latest content.
Find more episodes of our podcast at castofcreators.com, subscribe on YouTube, or listen on your favorite podcast platform.